Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TLDChat. My name is Brent Schlenker. I'm your host. This morning and every morning we jump on here at 8 a.m. Pacific time, go through, well, I guess that's what, 9, 10, that's 11 o'clock Eastern time? Sure. Well, let's go with it. Oops, better stop that video.
Me for just a second.
Yes, I would like to indulge you for a minute, but indulge me for a second. Oh, welcome everybody. This is TLDChat, and just wanted to get a couple things out of the way before we jump into our fantastic conversation with Vince Orleck of Brandish Social Media Marketing, Digital Marketing Company, I think. Vince, you're going to help me figure all that stuff out and get it right, okay? What I get you jumping on here? That's training, learning, and development. That's who we are. So those of you who maybe have seen me tweet about this, TLDC.us is the website you can hit up to get more information and to let us know that you like what we're doing. Please sign up for the occasional newsletter on the website. It gives us a gauge kind of what of the interest in the work that we're doing here at TLDC. We have some great news coming out about the event that we will have, dates, location. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. Very, very, very psyched about that. And let's see what else is going on. So, so TLDChat. What is TLDChat? TLDChat, 8 o'clock every morning Pacific time. We jump online and we talk about all things learning and development and some cool things on the fringe elements of the work that we do. We all know that there's a lot of different industries that play a role or that impact or that we engage with from time to time. So it's not all about us. And so it's good to get out of our comfort shell, get out of our box, and engage other industries, other folks that are doing some of the work of training, but they may not call themselves trainers or learning and development professionals. So that's all good stuff, and that's why we are here today. I don't know if we have any news today or not. If anybody is interested in letting us know if there's some good news going on. I rolled that little video at the beginning just as a sample to see how launching the show with a little YouTube video would work out. It was interesting. I saw that. And I've been telling people for a long time that the next millionaires are going to be educators or people that teach, especially the ones that know technology and how they can leverage their knowledge and share it with others. I don't think anybody has really truly cracked that nut yet, but I see it as a huge market, as does apparently some of the really smart people that go to the World Economic Forum. He was saying by 2030, but I have a funny feeling. So the tool or the solution or the big thing that impacts education, like worldwide or globally, or our system, I think will probably take that long, but I think people will kind of figure it out. I think people have kind of figured it out on a smaller level already. And that's the part that's pretty exciting to watch as we go by. And one of the things that is connected to all of this and all of the work that we do is marketing, is digital marketing. It is this element of creating content, which is what we do, We create instructional content, but then we need to figure out how do we get people to consume it. Traditionally, we forced people to consume it by sitting them in chairs and telling them that they needed to be there for that content. Today, people have much more control and much more power over their learning and which content they consume and why. And so there have been a lot of conversations over the last few years, and I'm going to have to turn off my notifications because this is just not good. There's been a lot of conversations in our industry over the years about how closely related we are to folks that do marketing. And dang it, if that's just going to drive me nuts. Family, stop tweeting. It's the family group chat, and it's going to drive me nuts. Stop it. Oh my gosh. Oh, well, forget it. Let's just jump in here. Hi, Vince.
What's going on, Brent? I know that feeling.
When everything just starts to go south, right? It's just like, oh, forget it. Let's just punt.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think it's it's real. It's real time. I know that feeling of getting all the group texts coming through.
Yeah, isn't there like it doesn't
I just hit mute.
I was saying, doesn't Mac OS have like a stop all notifications temporarily thing?
Well, mine's connected to my phone, so when I I use my phone, but yeah.
So if I turn it on, like
there is on the Mac there is in the section for the messages there's a thing you can stop the notifications.
There's a do not disturb.
Yeah. Well.
There it is. Notifications. Maybe in the settings. Oh yes, I'm going to jack up that time to like 10 o'clock. That should cover us. All right, let's see if that works. Anyways, Vincent Orleck, I've got a crazy question for you that's been driving me crazy. Do I call you Vince or Vincent? Which one do you like?
Someone just asked me that last night too that I talk to all the time. It's whatever. It's kind of like whatever. I leave it up to the person. Back home, like well, my wife calls me Vinny, and back home people call me Vinny or even Vincenzo. Or Chenzo. I mean, it's all over the place. So.
All right. Well, good.
Vince, good. Vincent, whatever.
Okay.
Good.
All right. I just, it's been bothering me because every time I call you Vince, I'm like, I wonder if he doesn't like that. I wonder if he prefers Vincent.
It's all good.
It's all good. All right. I kind of figured you were that easy going about it, but just wasn't sure. So tell me a little bit about who you are, Vincent.
Oh no! Talk about
how'd you get to where you're at, doing digital media and all that kind of stuff?
I was born in a small town in Rhode Island many decades ago. I originally came from the East Coast to out here to Phoenix 12 years ago, and I've worked in advertising and marketing in various capacities for the Arizona Republic, for some brands out here, IO data centers, of course. Facebook. When I was working at Facebook, I worked there for a year here in Phoenix. Believe it or not, they have an office that's kind of under the radar. That they utilize that for small business solutions, and they kicked that off as a pilot program pre-IPO. So this was 2012, and I wasn't one of the first people in that program, but I was in like the second or third group, and that's where I kind of realized, hey, social media as a marketing tool is pretty big, and that was just with Facebook. So what I did there was I worked with a lot of small businesses, but then also it developed into more bigger businesses and agencies. So a lot of different businesses that I would handle their accounts with advertising on the platform, and again, this was before like the advertising on Facebook was as huge as it is now, at multi-billion-dollar business.
Right.
They were trying to get people pre-IPO, they were just trying to make people aware that, hey, you can go and spend money on Facebook.
Yeah.
It was still pretty big at that time. It just wasn't what it is now, where everybody knows they can go and run ads on Facebook. So that was our job. But that was the time when I was like, oh yeah, social media, like this, people can use this for marketing. Like it's a viable marketing tool, not just Facebook, but Twitter and Pinterest and LinkedIn. I mean, whatever platform you want to name.
Yeah. As they're popping up throughout the years, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at that time, it was like Snapchat had started, but no one knew about Snapchat really.
Mhm.
It just started like in 2012. I think that was actually year one. And Pinterest was barely on the radar for people. LinkedIn was out there, but that was in a different kind of like, that was public actually at that time. So was Twitter. So those were the ones that people were like, oh yeah, we can really use these. And Facebook, it's funny because you hear about Snapchat right now, how, well, at least in the marketing community, people say, you can't, it's not really viable to use for marketing. It doesn't get this and that. The analytics aren't great. Well, guess what people were saying about Facebook back in the 2010, 11, 12, like
Right.
there was definitely that crowd out there. So, But anyway, I worked for a couple brands, and then last year I partnered up with my business partner, Kelly Lubei Singh. She had started her own agency the year prior and was doing really well, and she decided to bring me aboard. So that's where I'm at now, and we're a boutique agency at the moment, but growing every day.
Yeah.
Handling multiple types of clients. We're not a niche yet. I don't have a specific focus yet, but we love it. We love being able to do what we do.
Yeah, it's awesome. Tell us the name of it again.
Brandish social media marketing. So we focus on social media. We do provide digital, SEO type stuff, email marketing, influencer marketing, which ties in, of course, with the content marketing and social media marketing.
Yep.
But influencer marketing is a big deal right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe we can come back around to that whole influencer marketing thing. I've always wondered about that and how that would work. And how that bit kind of relates to what we do and what the folks in the chat here do. If I just want to take 2 seconds, thanks for introducing yourself. We've got a bunch of folks here all from the learning and development community. Hi, everybody. And a new face. Everybody say hi. I always forget at the beginning to tell everybody to jump in and tell us who you are and where you're from and maybe what you're working on or something like that. And just to kind of let us know. And as we get new people in and as active viewers, it's nice to get everybody to see each other. Yeah, no echo chambers. Come on.
But you know what, though? That's funny because I think I don't know if it's every industry, but like our, even not even just the marketing, but social media, the industry of social media that's one of the big complaints among people in the industry is that it's an echo chamber. So it's funny that someone from the learning and development arena says that too. So it's good to know that we're not alone. I think we just amplify it more to each other because everyone is on all these multiple channels, so we all see it all the time.
Yeah, we experience the same thing without question. I mean, it's a lot of preachers preaching to other preachers.
Yeah. Yeah, or just preaching to no one about themselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it can get to be a little bit of an issue, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So the angle I was thinking and taking, I mean, maybe let's just jump into the influencer marketing thing. It is because like when I look outside of our industry, outside of L&D into other industries, I like to look at what they're doing and equate some of the trends and the things that are happening there with what we're doing. And the way I see influencer marketing connecting with what we do is when we as an industry talk about subject matter experts. Right. I mean, that's our thing, right? Every time we need to start a new project, you know, one of the first steps is finding who the subject matter expert is, either within the company or if you're creating a course or a learning solution or a training course of some sort. Okay, who can I go get that's an expert in that field that can give me the content or help me build some content? And in a sense, it's very similar to finding influencers, right? Subject matter expert, influencer in a particular content area or category. And so when I watch and see this trend of, okay, what are the marketing people doing and how are they doing this influencer, you know, type marketing, and where's the value in that? You know, what can we gain from it? And I don't know what the answers are yet, right? I mean, it's still growing, but you know, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that whole influencer marketing thing. And maybe somebody from the chat or someone that's joining us can have some ideas and jump in as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know for us, you know, it's the big misconception, I think, with influencer marketing as a whole is that it's all the Kardashians of the world that have these millions and millions of followers that are just, you know, they get paid to put some sort of product in their Instagram post or something. And that's a, you know, that is a form of influencer marketing for sure. That's on a much higher level. And some people question the effectiveness of that. It does work because, I mean, a lot of these companies, they're not just doing it just to spend money. They're doing it because it's working to some extent. Whoever these people are, like the Kardashians, they have an audience, you know. I mean, it's some people don't like them, a lot of people don't like them, but a lot of people do, and a lot of the younger crowd, you know, they have an audience. So there's a viable marketing aspect there. What we're more focused on, and what I've participated in on both sides as an influencer and as someone that's looking for influencers to do the campaign. There's room for really all levels. Now, not someone that has like zero audience, but the smaller audience people, more like the grassroots type folks, have influence over whoever their audience is. And sometimes, or a lot of times, it's better to have an audience that is just way more engaged. If you have 100 people that are just all the way in on you and what you're doing, and you guys are all about the kind of the same types of things, that's better than having 1,000 people that follow you that are not paying attention. You know, the numbers don't matter in that case. So the engagement absolutely makes a difference in the activity. And yes, thanks for coming in, by the way. Quality over quantity. Yes. I mean, we talk about that all the time. It's always about quality over quantity. You know, the famous, or some of you may have never heard of him, but Gary Vaynerchuk, famous marketer, startup guy, agency guy, depth over width, right? Depth over width. So the depth of your followers over the width of your followers, the quality over the numbers. And that's what we look for. You know, a lot of times that's what we look for with our campaigns. We're trying to find people. It takes some time. You know, it takes some time. There's a burgeoning industry coming up of these platforms and apps and things that people are trying to build to be able to find influencers more easily.
Right.
So you can just kind of type in a subject and say, oh, here's the influencers for that subject. We have yet to run across one that really does it well. Yeah. It's nothing beats kind of going in and just taking the time doing it yourself and doing it manually.
Right. So hey, so everybody that's hanging out, you L&D folks, there is a particular reason why I asked Vincent to be here, and that is because you guys, I've heard you all talk about it, and we've all had conversations in the past about marketing our courses or marketing our solutions. Let me know what kind of questions you guys want. Shoot, I mean, we've got a digital marketer here with us hanging out. Give me some questions. And even if he can't answer the questions, we'll fake it as best we can. But I'm certain he'll be able to help us out, at least be able to help us, kind of talk it through and see if we can figure out some of this stuff. You can either put the questions in the Q&A. There's a great Q&A feature here within Crowdcast, or just go ahead and put it in the chat, and I'll try not to miss it if it cruises by too fast. But I know there are a couple people in our industry that have jumped onto the Snapchat bandwagon, if you will, and talked a little bit about how Snapchat might be useful from a learning perspective, or nowadays maybe it's less of Snapchat specifically, but more around stories, because we also talk in the industry about storytelling being a really important part of learning and all that kind of stuff. And so
stories certainly are in the news in the social media world right now. It's kind of a bane of existence for some, and others, they love it. But just this explosion of literally stories functionality within Facebook and all of their tools, and how Snapchat has had stories, obviously, and Instagram, which is part of Facebook, implemented stories and copied Snapchat and all that. That's, I mean, I think if we're not there yet, or if we haven't yet, we're almost there, to the point of, here's the shark right here, and we're about to go right over it with stories. I feel like we're already past, like Fonzie has already jumped. He's over it. He's over the shark and back on the beach already.
So it's not something you're really actively looking at or engaging with your clients even, and saying, hey, or
well certain things so storytelling, certainly storytelling is a key component, but even that, I mean, that's jumped the shark in a way. I mean, everyone's going to talk about, yes, storytelling. You need to have the ability to tell a story and a story to tell. Right. But that being said, it's an overused term by a lot in the marketing industry for sure, and it's kind of like a fallback. I feel like that when in our industry people are asked about that, about like what needs to be done by brands and everything, well, it's storytelling. Well, we've just like 2-3 years, if not longer, really, that we've been saying this. It's always applicable. It's a given at this point, I think. The tools that we have now, look, Instagram stories, to be specific, Instagram stories are a really good tool. I still think Snapchat is a good tool for the right companies, for the right brands, for the right people and influencers. The whole new stories function within Facebook is yet to be determined, because right now brands can't use that. They can't use it as the brand itself, like as a page or anything like that. It has to be done from friend to friend. It's on personal accounts. Now, everyone's kind of, at least in the marketing industry, everyone's waiting on the day when business pages get stories and can like just start telling their stories and doing personal stories on the app and on Facebook and all that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when that happens, because that's going to add yet another story function to another piece of Facebook.
Yeah.
I already see people's comments that are not in marketing, of my friends, that, and other people too. They're like, I'm not even looking at it. Like I don't even want to get into it. I like Facebook how it is, or I barely use Facebook already, and I'm not going to go and do that. And I'm looking at who the people are that are in my stories, and I'm sure I have a lot of marketing friends. I also have a lot of non-marketing friends, and the people that are in my stories are my marketing friends. So the non-marketing people, if and when it happens, I feel like it's going to be a slower adaptation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, and you're right. I loved your I loved your quote or statement of you have to have a story to tell.
Yeah.
you can't really fake it, right? No. Stories are important, but you have to have a story to tell, right? And not every, I don't think every brand has really mastered their story or figured that out. And sometimes it feels like they try too hard. In much the same way in our industry, I think a lot of the storytelling hype gets pushed too hard. And it's like, let's something that we could have taught by just telling people in like a job aid or a short email. They say, no, let's tell a story because storytelling is important. And so they tell a really, really long story to get to one point that could have been made without the story and been, way more effective. Even if the story is really, really good, a lot of what we do, at least recently, we've all been focusing on a lot of what marketing does is like focusing on the outcomes, right? The business outcomes. You may have the greatest, most creative department in the world, but if you can't measure effectiveness and value in what you did and the tools that you used or the channels that you pushed that story out on, if it falls on deaf ears, then it wasn't successful, no matter how great it was.
Yeah, and I like Anthony and Craig are in the chat here talking about it words, and Craig, I like what he said because he said he thinks it's even further than misused. It's used with lack of thought at this level. And I mean, I think he's talking about the L&D industry too. And it's funny, all these like kind of parallels, because it's exactly the same in marketing. There's so many people doing marketing and the social media side of it specifically, because it's relatively easy to jump into the social media industry and start maybe helping people and making money doing it.
Yep.
It's not as easy to keep those people as your clients, because if you don't know what you're doing, it's not gonna last. And so, but people, look, I know that there's people out there that are making a living kind of jumping from client to client every few months, because they're able to get they're good talkers, or they're able to prove something initially to get the business. But they can't hang on to it, and I don't think that's probably not specific to this industry either. I mean, it's probably, you guys probably see it too, to some extent, where people are good talkers and then they really don't know what they're doing once they get in there. It's just like,
hey, has anybody that's in the chat, any of you seen somebody jump into the training field that doesn't really know the realities of the job? I've never seen it. I don't know.
And I don't want this to sound like super negative, but it's just like it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
Fact of,
I think it happens in every industry, right?
It does. And I'm not perfect by any means. Look, I'm trying things and failing every day, but we're succeeding every day too, but that's part of it. That's what you want to do. You learn the most from your failures, from the things that you try and maybe don't work, and then you can move on from that, and the next thing is going to be great, hopefully. So, but I'm sure, like I said, like you said, I'm sure it's like that in every industry.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, listen, we're at the 8:30 mark, and I always like to take a little break right here and give my guests a chance to catch up on the chat and kind of read up on what's going on, and maybe take a breather while I do some housekeeping stuff. But one of the things I wanted to show in today's break, it's got a little bit of marketing genius in it and a little bit of storytelling. And if I can even find the video that I want, this link does not even have the video, which is crazy. This is the kind of thing, let's see, I need to get better at preparing for. Arcadia.
Hey, Brent, real quick, Joe said he disagreed that it does not happen in every industry. Imagine an architect who has never studied or done it before. I would just say this to that. But that person wouldn't get hired without, you wouldn't hire an architect, or a company wouldn't hire an architect without kind of checking their pedigree. And maybe that's more of the problem, especially within marketing. What I see, I don't know about L&D, but within marketing, I definitely see where these companies, and especially with social media, like small businesses or businesses in general, will not necessarily check, like ask for examples of what what someone has worked on or portfolio or something. They just, because they feel like they don't know anything or enough about it, they meet someone who's a great person and can talk a good game.
Yeah.
Is like, oh, I like this person, so you seem like you know what you're talking about, so let me give you a shot.
You have 2,000 followers on Twitter. Wow, that's a lot.
Right.
We should hire you to be our marketing person.
When in reality, they paid like $5-10 and bought those followers, you know? Like, I mean,
they have a whole lot of Koreans on their follow list. Right? So if that's your target market, then it works out well, right? Hey, I'm going to show this video really quick. It's hilarious, and it's a great break for our day. Let me see if I can get the screen share up. I should have done it earlier, but now I'll sing the song. I think I'm kind of freaking out. The song took so much time, and finding this real hard to rhyme. It's fine, I'm fine. From April 29th, you're an Oscar winner. I've got 2 of my own, so maybe I can buy you dinner. It'll make my night, and maybe make yours too. But I don't know, it's up to you. Summer is my name, and my stove. If you came out here and losing, go insane. We'll have to see. The clock's taking countdown. I hope you'll want to calm down. I'll see your face and think of how I got so lucky. Say I look like Ryan Gosling, and maybe that's a bit far-fetched. Please don't let me down. Maybe in your hometown, the coolest guy around in the valley of the sun. I know my voice ain't great, but please be my client in the valley of the sun. In the valley of the sun. In the valley of the sun, sun. In the valley of the sun. In the valley of the sun. In the valley of the sun. I was hoping to be the one. Not too bad.
Is that a prom? A
promposal, I believe is what they call that. Yes. I just remember that particular young man when he was a little tyke. My kids grew up with his kids. And,
oh, really?
Yeah. That's where my kids go to high school. Actually, my son was in that video too. He played a minor role in there, but yeah, good times. Definitely good times. But, my thought was, and I know it seems like kind of very oddball to throw a video like that into the mix, but, one of the things that got me thinking earlier when we were talking about this was just how easy it is to do that. I think we sometimes forget, right? Like, look, a kid can go and, with very, very, very minimal tools, shoot a pretty cool video with all of his friends and be able to put it up on YouTube and share it with a bunch of people, and news outlets pick it up and start sharing it and showing it, and it becomes like a thing. And I think we just sometimes start to think that, there we go. wonder why my camera isn't working. Oh, there we go. I think sometimes think that it's, you know, I don't know. It just seems like so commonplace now, but I think people sometimes forget how really awesome technology is and how cool it is that that we can do that. Because I mean, when I was in high school, you know, that wasn't possible. Right? I mean, not even remotely possible. I mean, even friends of mine that I grew up with that had parents that worked in TV, that owned TV stations and or worked in TV, they didn't even have access to go in and edit a cool promposal video and get it on the news, right?
So, yeah, obviously there was no internet. I mean, I had at one point, you know, when I was a certain age, I hit a certain age, I think I bought myself a video camera. And that was like the first time you could go and really make your own stuff. But then it's like, oh, well, you had this video, you show your friends, you know, or your family. And it's not like you had any other outlet. You know, if you send back then, especially if you sent a videotape into a newsroom randomly, like you'd probably get the FBI to your house, you know?
You're probably right. Yeah, but I mean, I think it does apply in this conversation a bit because to your point about people thinking, oh, you know, it's so easy, anyone can do it. I mean, we run into that a lot in our industry. I know marketing does too, you know, just start a YouTube page or just build a course and, you know, people will flock to it and pay you money and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, sort of the transition I wanted to make here is exactly that idea of courses as being content. I know it's become, I've been keeping an eye on this for a few years now, actually, but, you know, it's a growing thing where courses, right, no matter how you think of them, you folks in our industry, are becoming big business as a part of content marketing. A good chunk of content can be presented as an educational course, and that's a real big trend right now.
Huge. On our side, I mean, we're and just in our industry, you and I have had this conversation, Brent, a couple times about marketers now moving. I mean, it's the smartest marketers, the ones that are kind of like on the leading edge of the next level of where things should go in the industry, have already been, you know, doing courses, and it's out there already. And now you're seeing all these platforms that make it really, really easy. You know, look, the easiest way to make a course is just take my iPhone and I can slap it on a tripod or stand it up and literally just talk and make 7 1-minute videos. And that's a course, you know, like for all intents and purposes. But now there's all these other platforms that make it easy. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just want to stop you right there because that's exactly the soundbite I wanted to hear from somebody that is not in our industry, because this is the reality that our industry has to face. You can take 7 videos and that's a course, right? I mean, you said it as beautifully as I you know, had I sent you an email and said, I want you to say this.
Which you didn't.
I wish I totally
it's a fact of what of how it is. And look, now that's not saying that I agree with that as
sure.
You know,
but
those are absolute. Look, YouTube right now is like the biggest, aside from Facebook, but I don't consider YouTube social media. It's a storage. It's a place for data storage, for video storage.
Right.
But YouTube is like everybody's going on YouTube to watch content. If you want to learn how to do something, you go to YouTube, or most people go to YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to, you know, a course in particular, that's more like, I'm thinking more tutorials, but a course, those are on YouTube, and now YouTube has a paid model.
Yep.
That there's content on there. There's, you know, I could have my own website and throw a course up on my website, or I can go on Udemy or Lynda and watch whatever learn whatever I want to learn, sometimes for free. Khan Academy, right? I mean, that's the one really that always, when that person was talking about at the quote you showed at the beginning about the millionaire, billionaire, the next huge thing.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm having trouble imagining something bigger than like Khan Academy. Khan Academy started as YouTube videos.
Right.
And now my wife is an online student for ASU. They own, and I'm sure they're not the only ones, but some of their online coursework is Khan Academy videos.
Yeah.
And that's ASU. Like, that's a humongous school.
Yep.
So it's already getting in there. I'm curious to see what that next huge kind of application is.
Yeah, I think everybody's trying to figure that out, right? I mean, and one of the points I wanted to quickly jump back to real quick when you're talking about YouTube and like what YouTube is, one of the things that in our industry that when I would give presentations on talking about these new tools as they were popping up, in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, and talking to our industry about it, I would try really hard to talk about the functionality. Stop looking at the content that's currently on these platforms, but think about what it really is. What's the underlying functionality, the feature functionality that it is? And to your point about YouTube, right? It's like, okay, sure, 99% of it is junk, but there's 1% of it that is junk, and they have a capability, a search engine. There's Google, there's everything behind it allows the good stuff to trickle to the top. So just because there's a bunch of junk in it doesn't mean that the whole thing is junk and you should just forget about YouTube, right? No, and nobody does that, right? Now everybody still respects it, but it's a place to hold videos. If you start thinking of the new social media tools that are out there, everybody in our industry, you're going to start seeing the features that float to the top, the ones that are really effective globally, right, on a commercial level. Those are the ones that start to trickle into our tools, right? Our learning management systems, our, the systems that grow out of our industry and have that feature set because they see that now, oh yeah, there's value in it. So you guys kind of, the tools that pop up in the social media and the digital marketing world are kind of a test bed for us. I refer to us as a lagging indicator, right? We wait until the cool stuff gets popular enough and we know it's going to stick. Then we're like, okay, cool. That's a great channel to push learning through.
Yeah.
So
and there's multiple video sites. I mean, YouTube is just because it's Google, it's the biggest. Someone mentioned about that YouTube is kind of social media. I mean, I would probably agree with that. In the sense of there's some small social element, but I don't put it in the same category with like Facebook and Twitter and things where there's like these conversations happening and sharing and that sort of a thing. It's more of a landing spot. It's more of a place you're directing people to then kind of stay there, or I mean they're gonna go probably get lost in a rabbit hole, which happens to all of us all the time. But there's not kind of that social element to it. Because honestly, the social element of it would be like the comments, and everybody knows the YouTube comment section is a dark place.
Yeah, it can be. It absolutely can be. Hey, let's see. Craig threw a question in, and I want to make sure we get to it before we run out of time. Let's see. Does the this color means this thing in advertising have any clout? So like, oh, if you want to really get someone's attention, use red, or if you want to calm someone down, use a pale blue, all that kind of stuff. Do you guys pay attention to that stuff legitimately?
I think some do. I think some do. I think when you're talking about the really big campaigns or advertising, especially advertising like these ad agencies, I think that can be a factor. I don't think it's the be all and end all, but certainly I would say in certain cases it probably matters. Like, not to keep going back to Snapchat, but their whole thing is this bright yellow, right? That's their kind of brand color. That's how when you see that bright yellow, I mean, at least if you're in social media, you think Snapchat.
Yeah. I'm only fringe sort of into the social media side of things, right? But yeah, I do. I mean, I see it like on the bags. I think you've got one of those Snapchat bags. It's black with the big yellow Snapchat sign on it. I know Fanzo has one.
Yeah. Well, he's the reason I have it, is because I saw him with it and I liked it. But the thing is, that's like the happy color.
Yeah.
Yellow is the happy color. But I don't know if that's why they picked it. It definitely could have been, because those guys are really smart. The Spiegel and his other partner there, and the people involved with that I think are the smartest guys in the room in terms of social media, next to like Zuckerberg. And maybe even smarter. But we'll see. The yellow, I think with yellow, it was a combination of, like, if I had to guess, it's that, but it's also the fact that it's just bright, and that no other social media channels really were utilizing that. There was a lot of blue, different shades of blue, red. I mean, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn are all some sort of blue.
Yeah.
You know, and Facebook and LinkedIn are pretty close too. But there was no yellow, you know, so maybe that was part of it. But I feel like more so on the advertising side, probably specifically, the color thing is maybe factored in more.
Yeah, there is a science to it. Craig put a good link in there, and I know there's psych behind it, and there's neuroscience and all that kind of stuff. You know, if you want to be more energetic in your office, you know, paint one of your walls bright red and all that kind of stuff. I've read lots of science around that. It's like an energy color, and you know, it's just, you know, I don't know exactly how it works, but
the luxury brands, I mean, look, they're going to use black and white.
Yeah.
You know, luxury, black and luxury in terms of the colors on advertisements and things. It still happens. So
yeah, silvers, golds, everything that's representative of wealth and high end, you know, black tie, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Let's go back to the course stuff for a second before we run out of time and talk a little bit about when you think of building a course, right? Obviously you mentioned, you know, you could, you know, just put the YouTube videos up there, and YouTube as the selling channel, but are there any new good platforms out there that the marketing community is kind of connected to create or sell their courses?
There's the ones I mentioned before, as far as Linda with a Y, Linda.
Right. Yeah.
.com. Udemy, I know I saw it seemed to have like a kind of a hot time maybe about a year ago where people were jumping on there and creating things, but that's still out there. And the one that I found recently, because of our mutual friend Brian, was Thinkific, which seemed it comes down to is it affordable and is it easy to use, because there's a million tools you can use to create a course.
Yeah.
You know, how easy does it make it to make it look nice? That one I kind of went through some of the tutorials and things. Haven't made a full course yet, but it seems really straightforward. A lot of the elements, the technical elements of, you know, like payment or affiliate links, things like that.
Yep.
They're in there, really easy to share and to use. So the ease of use and the being friction free, right?
Yep.
And the cost. I mean, that's what it's always going to come down to, really, and how good it looks. So that's the one. I don't know if I would feel comfortable making it like a recommendation, let's say, but that's the one that I saw that was seemed pretty effective.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention out too. I'll give a shout out to Shannon, who was our guest yesterday. She's selling some courses that you should all check out. And share, and she has looked into a lot of these different platforms, and so she's got some experience in that space. If you guys want to reach out to her, if you have more interest in that, you know, as we get a little bit closer to the 9 o'clock hour here, let me make sure that I got all of or at least most of our questions answered here. Got the color thing. Do you see Snapchat changing based on the stories functionality from Instagram and Facebook? I think we kind of covered that, didn't we?
I'll say this about that, just because I don't know if a lot of people are really talking about this or mentioning this. It's
okay.
Their IPO in their papers and their filing, they specifically said they're a camera company. They didn't say anything about anything else. They said camera. So that is leading people to think they're going down the hardware route. And I don't know if you guys have all seen, but Snapchat Spectacles, they created Spectacles, which are glasses that you can take snaps on that connect to your Snapchat account. They take 10-second videos at a time. Brilliant. I'm sure it's a matter of time before Facebook copies that and has Facebook goggles or whatever you want to call them. Facetacles, I don't know, but that's where it's going. Like, I feel like the hardware side, they were smart to do that. Not that they're not that Snapchat is necessarily going anywhere, but I said this the other day to someone, and he tweeted it out as like a poll question. But I feel like they are trying to be more Apple. They are Facebook. They're trying to be Apple in the sense of they want to own the software and the hardware.
Yeah.
That you're using. And I mean, we know another company that was attempting to do that too. It's not super easy, you know. It's not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
You have to bought in on it. But I think the potential is there. Like I think they have this young generation of users that's still there. Don't be fooled. Like the millennials and then the next generation, Gen Z, the teenagers right now in high school are using Snapchat. They're on Instagram too, but they're using Snapchat instead of texting. That's what they're using it for. They're not using it for stories like, hey, go follow my story. They're using stories, but they're connected to just their friends.
Yep.
And they're maybe not following brands, let's say, but they do look at the stuff in the Discover section in the news that is appealing to them. So, and there's all these other functions within Snapchat. So not to get too into Snapchat, but it's going to be more viable as time goes on, I think, because they're going to have this user base that may not move everything to Facebook as they get older. That may not happen.
Yeah, it's all changing so fast, and you just never even know, what's the best way to do it. How do you keep up with all of the changes in tech?
Me personally, blogs. I mean, I just with Twitter. I mean, Twitter will keep you up to date on anything you want to be kept up to date on. So, that's if you're following the right spots, and then just the blogs that I read on a daily basis or have fed to me through various channels. That's really the only way. That's it.
Yeah. You have to stay up there. Have you ever had a client come to you and say, I absolutely want to do this type of campaign, and you thought that's totally not right for you, but you did it anyways?
It's a delicate balance for sure. At one level, like, they're coming to us for our expertise and our knowledge. But if they see something they want to do that, and there's just no getting around it. I mean, we'll try to help them with it. Yeah. It's because most of the time it's not that it's like the absolute wrong thing. It's just, it wouldn't be what we recommend as the best approach. So maybe what we'll try to do is go that route, but then also try to get them to add maybe, and while we're at it, we should really maybe think about this over here too, as a whole campaign. And then we can pull it all together and pull the analytics for the whole thing, but then we can also separate it out and say, compare this to this and which one worked the best. So sometimes it just takes them seeing it happen, just like everyone else, and learning, right? You learn by doing and by failing and trying things, and sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah. Fantastic way to end. We're getting close to that 9 o'clock hour, so we're going to definitely have to wrap this up. Does anybody else have any final thoughts or questions you want to toss out to Vincent before we let him go? Anyone? I'll give you a few seconds. Or any news or any cool things like that you want to talk about also. I guess
real quick, there was the one question about why are marketing professionals getting into courses?
Oh, yeah. I think, didn't I ask that, or didn't we talk about that? Or
I don't know. I mean, just the quick answer is really because it builds credibility. Now the question is whether the person still knows what they're talking about or not. There could be a course or courses out there that are totally teaching the wrong thing. And someone that doesn't know better will watch that and think, oh, that's how to do it. So it's all taken with a grain of salt. You just have to really look at who the person is that's doing the course and decide, is that viable? Maybe ask some other folks. That never hurts. Ask a group of people and see if they know anything. And
do you build up your expertise first and then create your course, or do you create your course to build up your expertise and improve your expertise?
I hope it's building the expertise first. I hope. look, I've never created a course myself, really. I've done a couple little tutorial things through YouTube or Snapchat here and there, but no official courses. And it's because I don't know if I feel totally comfortable doing it yet, because I want to, and the other thing is I want to make it and then have it not be invalid within a week or a month. So I want it to be something that is more maybe strategy or tactic based rather than platform specific to a functionality or something that's going to be gone in a year.
Right. Very cool. Well, Vincent, thanks so much for hanging out with me this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good times. We definitely want to have you back as soon as I see something social media it change and become like huge news. You want to jump on and be our man in the know? Yeah,
let's do it.
All right, cool. All right, man, I'm going to close down your video window and do some housekeeping stuff and end the show. But thanks again very much. Everybody, where can everybody find you?
Oh, man. Well, if you just if you look up my name, a bunch of stuff will come up. That's all good. It's just my name on Facebook, Twitter, and all that. I have a business page on Facebook that's I keep up with, and all the social media club Phoenix. I don't know if anybody here is in the Phoenix area, but we're getting that going. We have social media day coming up at the end of June. I know it seems far off, but it's in the works. It's almost totally finalized. We have a lot of stuff going on.
Cool. All right, well, everybody, and check out Brandish. If you guys want some social media help, check out his company, Brandish. It's just brandish.com, right?
It's Brandish Social.
BrandishSocial.com. All right, everybody check that out. All right, again, Vincent, thank you so much. I'm going to shut down your window now. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, everybody, guess what? TLDC 17 is not happening, but drum roll, please. Maybe I should have invited Sam on here for this, for some musical support. TLDC 18 is happening. We're going to be more than likely, we're still dialing in on the exact dates, but it's looking like the last week. Thank you, Sam. The last week of January, and definitely going to be in Phoenix, like we've said before. And we've found a very, very cool location in the middle of downtown Phoenix in the newly being revitalized warehouse district, and it is a very, very, very cool location. Luis was just out here yesterday. He and I took a tour. I'd seen it before during Phoenix Startup Week, and it's a location called Galvanize, and it's going to be fantastic. We also checked out the hotel. There's also a brand new hotel that's being built or renovated and remodeled close by. That's going to be fantastic. It will be done in time for our event. And yes, it's not really on a coast. We're not really on a coast. We're not going to have a beach for you, but I am going to work really hard to show you guys how special Phoenix can be, especially in January. It is the best time of year to be here. When you guys are all snowed in somewhere, the weather is beautiful here in January. So, and believe it or not, there is an awful lot to do here. And so, stay tuned. It's, Luis and I are super excited about it. And we'll also be, that means building the program for it as well. So lots of ideas, but again, TLDC is about the community. It's about you guys. It's about what you need and what you want. And those of you that attended TLDC 16 know that we try really hard to make sure that we can get you what you need. Us building a program is great, and we have to build some kind of program, obviously, so that you guys know what to expect. But part of that is you helping us and you telling us, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with that, or the new company I'm working for, I'm building this, and we will help get you to the right people. Everything that makes TLDC great is not the event itself, not the event location. You know, all of that stuff is good, but that's all fringe. It's all about you guys and you guys coming together, being with your network, and learning from each other, and case studies, and everybody getting better at doing the work, training and learning and development. So again, that's why TLDChat is here every single day for you guys to hang out with. Be sure to share everything that we're doing with your friends, and we'd love to keep connected with you. So be sure to sign up for the newsletter at tldc.us. And thanks again to everybody for supporting us and joining us each morning. Those of you that have turned out to be regulars on the show every morning, I really, really appreciate your support. And I also don't mind if you just kind of pop in and pop out. That's the beauty of this, right? That's why we're consistent in doing this every single day. It gives you that ability. I know everybody's busy. You've got meetings. You've got actual work to do. But we're here for you when you need that support. And so I love to see so much banter going on in the chat. That's great. All of you getting to know each other. Love it. Love to see the new faces as well. So invite all your friends. Everybody have a fantastic day. This is fun. Oh, wait, previews for tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a fantastic day with Andrew Hughes. His particular company, Designing Digitally, just won a whole boatload of awards. Again, he does some fantastic stuff, and Andrew is just an all-around fantastic, cool guy. So he'll be our guest tomorrow. And then we have the wonderful and amazing Brian Fanzo, iSocial Fans. He was our keynote from TLDC 16, and he'll be here on Friday talking. We're going to focus on, he does the social media stuff a lot, much like Vincent does. They're kindred spirits, but we specifically are going to have Brian talk to us about live streaming and kind of what we're doing here, and get the lowdown on that and what's happening in that space. And what we can do with it and all that fun stuff. So anyways, I'm only 3 minutes over today, which is a pretty good record for me. So again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me, and all of your peers. Feel free to hang out in here and continue the chat if you want to. I'm going to drop off. Everybody have a great day. Cheers.